Hey everyone, I'm here with Nate again with Inbox Attack. We're going to talk about writing emails. This is a multi-part video series where we go through, mostly Nate actually goes through, really the start to finish of writing a successful sales or cold email. Nate, let's talk about writing emails today. Let's jump into it.
All right. As with any good story, we want to start at the beginning. Uh, Oftentimes, when we're looking at writing cold emails, people want to jump in and start talking about calls to action and you know A/B testing and all this other crazy stuff. But the battle of the inbox starts in the from block. So a little bit of framework is I want to look at the elements of an email, and then we're going to break them apart in the following videos. The first part of an email is actually the from name and the from email address. That's something that people ignore and absolutely should not. They absolutely should not ignore it because whether you're in mobile or on desktop, people read from left to right and top to bottom, at least in the US. They read from left to right, top to bottom. So that's the first thing they're going to see. The first impression is that. Next up is your subject line, and then you dig into the different components of the message itself. So for this video, I want to drill down specifically into this first impression with the from name and the from email. So here's the deal. People buy from humans. They act. They could be spurred into action to reply, to click, to sign up, to say yes, to forward an email if a human is asking them. So relying on your company name as the from name in a campaign is a bad idea. There are, of course, exceptions to this rule, but more often than not, you're going to be better off just using your name. Now, some companies, some of you listening to this may be in situations where you've got branding guides that insist on the company name being in there. And in that case, I would go with your name and the company name in parentheses or hyphened off to the side in the from name. If you have the benefit of a large brand that you're with, like a recognizable brand or a recognizable name, I would leverage that as well, but still use the first name. Super, super important. And I've got, oh my goodness gracious, probably thousands and thousands of campaigns where we've actually tested this because my clients will be like, oh, it's not how it is. And I was, well, let's test it. And first name always wins. I also see people get lazy and don't actually put a from name in and just their email address defaults. Also a bad idea. Initials, I've been seeing initials a lot in cold email campaigns. Those are also not as effective. Go ahead and use your name. Use your name. Before I hop into the next slide, gender does matter. And I'm not just talking from a political point of view or anything like that. When it comes to the psychology of how people open emails, gender matters. And we'll get into more on this in follow-up videos on A/B testing, but I would actually look at the gender of the name. Sometimes I use something male in the beginning, and if someone doesn't open that email after 3 or 4 times of trying, I'll switch genders. I've even switched to a dog's name before once to get somebody's attention. Now that's in case of emergency break last, but it's still human, it's still personal. The from email address, once again, human language always wins out, always. And in the space of cold email, you see a lot of people that'll be info at, contact at, support at, and I hear all sorts of excuses. I mean, the number one excuse I hear for people using that is like, hey, that's just my G Suite account. I bought a G Suite account and that's the from email address. I mean, the from name is human, it says Nate, but the email address is info at. G Suite accounts cost $5 a month, $5. So I highly doubt that there's anything in the world that's not worth an extra $5. So just get a dedicated account that has a name. It could be Nate.Wright. It could be Nwright. Just make sure it's human. Also, everyone already knows this, but I keep seeing it everywhere, is using old school accounts, an AOL account. I had someone try to sell me a marketing integration platform recently that had a Yahoo account. And I'm just like, really? Like, I'm going to trust my technology with that person. Don't do it. If you must do it, Gmail's your best bet.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about this, like you're selling, what was the example? Like email marketing. That's a sale that's worth like thousands of dollars a year, right? Maybe at least like 500 to 750 a year of how much you would be spending on some sort of email marketing tool. You know, AOL has zero trust. Like anybody can get it, although I don't know who can get an AOL subscription these days. But yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, I think it's like use Gmail at the very, very, if you really need to get free, because a G Suite account, actually, I think if you're, I think it's even free for the first 30 days. So.
Yep. Yeah. No. So it's very low investment. And it's also from a deliverability perspective. In previous messages, you have more capability to reach more inboxes if you spend the $5. So the last one is no reply. You see this a lot in transactional emails, and I have also seen it in cold email campaigns. It just blows my mind. So if you must use some sort of separate system, which sometimes is dictated by corporate, sometimes you don't have a choice, then use a subdomain. You see people like email.companyname.com, e.companyname.com. That still looks legitimate. It looks professional. And that's the main point here with the from name and from email. You want it to be human. So no one wants to think that they're being hit by a robot. And you want it to be legitimate, human and legitimate. So that's where the battle starts, is in the from block. So, and that is that.
Awesome, guys. Well, look, this sounds very basic, but Nate and I experience the number, just so many people really making mistakes in the very basic stuff. Your name, email, all that stuff matters because it's first impression. So subscribe. If you have questions, leave a comment, and we'll answer it as we can. Until next time.